and welcome to today's webinar. I am George Zarepsky, your moderator, and today we have with us our founders, Candace and Mark Perea. Hey, guys.
What's up?
Hello.
All right, guys. So today we're going to switch it up a little bit, and we're going to try to be a bit more informative on a general note instead of specific information about Aerēz. We want to give you some information that could help you pretty much across the board, but also Aerēz will help you do that a lot easier. So we'll get into that, but before we do, I want to make sure you guys know that if you have any questions, please drop them in the comment section below, and we will answer those during this webinar at the end. And if we don't, if you're watching the recorded version and you're not watching live, then go ahead and ask those questions in the comment section and we will reply to you. Also, if you want to get some instant or semi-instant feedback via chat, go to our website at aerez.net, aerez.net. And there's a chat bubble in the lower right, and that'll help you contact us. We'll get back to you shortly with whatever answers you require, or if you just want to give us some feedback, that'd be great too. All right, so without further ado, I want to start off with Candace. Candace, do you have any updates that you want to talk about quickly before we get rolling into some of this pro tips and advice?
Our updates are really in progress right now, so I don't really have anything new to share at this time. So what we're going to talk about today is some feedback we've gotten from our current users, questions, and some of the roadblocks we've run into. So I guess I can start with one, and then it's more geared towards Mark's area of expertise. So first question is, my internet runs very slow when my whole family is using it. How can I make it better?
All right, I guess I'll take that one and say that if your internet's running slow, there's a couple of reasons that can be. Obviously, you have a certain amount of bandwidth that you pay for from your service provider, and depending on how big that pipe is and what your service provider offers, you may be consuming more bandwidth than your service provider is giving you, and you might be able to upgrade your package. That's one scenario. Another scenario is that the traffic on your network is too big and you've got the biggest pipe that you can get. In that case, you really need to put in a method to limit the traffic to each device. And with Aerēz, we do that automatically, and we're adding more controls to handle that better in the future. But if you want to take care of that on your own, most routers that are off the shelf, so if you own your own router, there will be an admin panel that you can log into, and you can go in there and tweak the settings for bandwidth shaping, quality of service, and those are the monikers, the names of the things that you want to look for, and each user interface does it in a different way, so I can't go into the specifics of how your particular router would do that, but that's the stuff you're looking for. Is bandwidth shaping means limit this device to only allow it to consume a certain amount of bandwidth, and quality of service means I want my computer to have top priority, and I want the Xbox to have lower priority, and if I don't define something else, I want it to have no priority at all.
So we're kind of doing that with Aerēz, shameless plug, right? All right, starting off early. So we're doing that when we allow you to set these user groups, and we allow you to pick the type of user it is, whether it's a media or a child or an adult, those types of things. And just gee whiz information, and we are actually looking for some feedback from you guys on this. On the dashboard, you have the usage button up here on the right below your profile image. And when you tap that, what you'll get is an instant moment in time of what activity is going on your network. And you'll notice that right here at the bottom, it shows your download. For mine, it's 6.2 megs out of 61. So that's saying that I have a total download or total pipe of 61 megabytes. And then my upload speed is 45 megabytes. So if you're seeing that number is saturated, I mean, these graphs are just full up. Specifically this top graph and the green graph here, then, or I'm sorry, the black graph, then you're gonna probably need to either upgrade your package if you can, or start putting some restrictions in, like Mark was talking about. Did you want to point out something on this here, Mark, while I have this screen up?
No, but that's a good point. And let me take a better view here of this screen here. So as George mentioned, with Aerēz, this is an instant snapshot in time. Depending on which router you have, you may or may not have a screen that looks something like this. Some provide an interface that you can look at and see what's my real-time usage look like. Others just don't have that capability, and in which case you'll just not know whether you're full or not without something like Aerēz.
All right, awesome. Thanks, Mark. All right, so that kind of covers the what do you do when things are running slow portion. So another question that we had was how do we keep family members from sucking up all the bandwidth? For example, if somebody's doing torrents or console games or even just streaming, how do we prevent one user from kind of eating up all of our available bandwidth to, you know, allow us to do things as well without delays or lagging or stuttering or buffering?
Yeah, so I mean, that's a different answer when you have Aerēz versus when you don't. So if you don't have Aerēz, I'm going to say that most of the time, your answer is going to be to shut that device off or disconnect it from the network. So if that's a PC, you're going to physically go and unplug that. If that's a cell phone or some other device that's wireless, you're probably going to want to take that away from the user that's consuming all of the bandwidth and causing the trouble. Now with Aerēz, you know, we've got the pause button. So you just go into the device or the user that owns that device, hit your pause button, and immediately they're incapable of using network resources that go online. So you're gonna instantly stop all streaming for that device or that user, which you can gain instant control from anywhere you need to.
Okay, yeah, and so also on the user screen, if you don't know which device it is that's sucking up all the bandwidth, if you happen to be like me and you have 30 plus devices in your home, it may be hard to figure out which one that is. Again, this usage screen kind of shows you, well, literally shows you which devices are doing the talking at that time and how much of the talking they're doing. So now I know that it's this device in particular that's doing the most talking. I can go, if I know that that's assigned to a specific user, I can go to that user and pause them, or I can go to that device and pause that device itself. In this case, this is the computer that we're streaming from, so I definitely don't want to pause that. Not going to do that right now. Awesome. Candace, did you have any other topics that we could speak to?
Well, kind of playing off of what you were just talking about with, you said that with Aerēz, we do the optimization for you. Some of that happens automatically, but we do have the optimize button under our network settings. So one of the questions from one of our new users is, how often should one run the optimized test? So again, Mark, I'll throw this one at you.
Sure. So the optimize button there will run a speed test, and then it runs our algorithm that will auto-tune your network for your particular connection speed. It knows the number of devices that have automatically been detected that are on your network, and it knows the users that are assigned in the app. So runs some math and automatically sets that bandwidth shaping and quality of service that we talked about a few minutes ago for your whole network, so that all of your devices get enough bandwidth to do whatever it is that you want to do, balancing out that bandwidth across all your devices so that you don't have that slowness or inconsistent speed.
So that being said, these updates or this optimization is actually being done automatically. Is that right, Mark?
Yeah, so we're currently continually doing measurement. We don't act on that measurement as much as I want to. We want that to be measuring every hour and tuning whenever it needs to tune. And we've got that running through our lab to make sure that it is 100% solid.
Okay, so essentially it'll do it on its own, but a use case where I might want to push it myself, well, number one is I just want to know what speed my network is running at. So I can do that two ways. I can either go to the usage screen, which is going to show me the results that Aerēz has captured from the last speed test, whether automatic or manual. Is that right?
Right.
And then I can go in and manually tap it and see the instant, this is what your speed is. But when I manually tap it, it's also going to do that math and perform those algorithms again. So a use case might be if I added a bunch of new things to the network, or maybe, you know, I installed a new alarm system, for example, and I've got 3 cameras on the perimeter of the house that weren't there before, and they're recording 24/7. Maybe I want to push that button in so it redistributes the bandwidth evenly across the devices. Is that accurate?
Absolutely, you got it. So as far as the optimize button getting pressed goes, you definitely want to run that one time when you first get Aerēz. And we're working on, like I said, further automation, further enhancement, so that that'll optimize for you every time you plug it in and every time you move it around or upgrade your internet package. But for now, you want to run it right away. And then if you upgrade your internet package, let's say you've got 5 meg internet today and you upgrade to 15 or 20 meg, obviously you want to re-optimize at that point. And if you do significant changes to your users or devices, it makes sense to do the optimize again. But then, as George said, the rest of the time, it's automatically measuring and periodically tuning on its own.
Awesome, great. All right, Candace, did you have any other of the comments or user feedback that you wanted to talk to?
I have one last question that we've gotten recently. And that one is, how do I disable my ISP's modem if it has Wi-Fi and I want to use Aerēz Wi-Fi? So again, we'll kind of throw this at Mark. You're the hardware expert. So we'll give
Well, you know
this one
what?
for you.
I'll jump in real quick. I'll
Okay.
tell you what I do, because being the techie guy in my circle, I'm often asked this question or similar questions. And what I've ended up doing is pretty much Google. I take advantage of Google. So depending on who it is that's asking me, I may know what internet service provider they're using. And if they don't know the full details on their modem, I kind of do a guess, right? So I'll just Google, you know, what modems does X provider use, right? And try to tie it as close as I can to what my friend has or family member has. And then I just go get the manual and I literally find the pages that talk about it, and I kind of walk them through it. So another option is basically just find your modem model number. It should be prominently displayed somewhere. Sometimes modems are rebranded. You know, Motorola or other brands might rebrand their modem for the business that they're selling through, but you'll have a model number anyway that you can go and Google and just do that model number space manual. And you know, a lot of times Google will fill in that manual part for you. Just go down there and click it, and then you can find just by doing a search for radio is a common phrase or term that will get you to the right section of that manual, and you'll be looking for, how do I turn off my radio? And you may have guest network or a guest radio, more than one radio, but you'll want to turn off your primary radio or disable it. There'll be some, you know, verbiage in there like that. So that's what I do. Mark, what do you do?
Well, so I guess I'll snowball on that and say that there's probably a couple different ways that this can happen, because sometimes, just like there are many service providers across the nation, there's many different types of modems and routers out there too. So sometimes you have to call your ISP to make changes to your Wi-Fi. So if that's the case for you, then nothing you can do yourself will adjust the Wi-Fi. You'll have to call it in. In other cases, just like George said, find your model number and what it is, and you can do the research to find out what it is, and that's exactly what I do. But let's say you're a little uncomfortable with that, or you're reading it and it's not making sense to you. Open our support chat and tell us what you've got, and we'll run through the instructions and try and make it more human readable. We can assist you absolutely with getting that shut off. If you need to talk to your telco, let us know. And if that's a conversation you're not comfortable with having with them, we can jump on the line with you and, you know, spend the minute or two that it takes to say, hey, here's what we're trying to do. Let's get that shut off. One other question that some users have had is, do I have to use Aerēz as the only router in my network? Do I need to turn my modem into what's called a bridge modem, will this work behind another router? And the answer to all those questions is that Aerēz will work on its own, regardless of what type of internet connection you're plugging it into. You get the best performance out of Aerēz when Aerēz is the only router on the network. But as long as it has internet reachability, Aerēz is going to work. I
Okay,
don't know if that
awesome.
helps or confuses things. Maybe George can help clean up there.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. So basically, you can use your other hardware for, say, for example, if you want to have a little bit of an extension and you want to put your old router into a bridge mode, just to extend your Wi-Fi. As long as Aerēz is the router that's connected straight to your modem, directly to the internet, then everything else in your home network will be controlled through Aerēz. But if you don't put Aerēz as that first point, and you put another modem in front of Aerēz, then that may not be the case. Is that right, Mark? Or did I just muddy the waters a little more there?
No, I think you got it. And obviously, if Aerēz is not plugged straight into your modem and everything is plugged into Aerēz, then the optimizations that we talk about and the speed boosts and internet performance that we promise is not going to be delivered, because if you can imagine, it's as though you put a splitter on a hose and part of that water pressure goes left and part of that water pressure goes right. And if Aerēz is the splitter, then we control how much water pressure goes to each side. But if Aerēz is at the other end of that water hose, we don't control how much pressure goes upstream, so to speak.
So we're only controlling the pressure on that one spigot there. So if I got a couple hoses coming off, I'm only controlling.
You want it to be as far up the network as possible so that it has
that makes
the
sense.
best.
So I've got some wired devices that are relatively close to the router. And instead of using the Wi-Fi feature on some of them, and a couple don't have a Wi-Fi feature, I just plug those straight into my modem. So in that situation, I'm actually defeating the purpose of Aerēz, because those things are getting direct access to the internet instead of going through Aerēz. So I definitely would want to put those devices into Aerēz, group them accordingly, and then let Aerēz manage their bandwidth in that way. Is that right?
Yeah, so you'd see definite enhancement if you did that. And
okay,
with the way you're configured right now, then those devices outside of Aerēz, not only are we not able to protect them or control them with bedtime blocker or pausing the internet, but they're also costing you a bit on the optimizing features, so that they're not optimized, and they're also able to basically steal from your optimized devices.
So if I did have something connected, say I had a machine that I was just doing torrents for educational software, of course, and I had that not on Aerēz and plugged straight in, and it's just downloading all day, I could still get buffering on the network because Aerēz isn't aware of that device and what it's doing and the bandwidth that it's using. So I definitely want to have those objects.
Yep, absolutely.
So that being said, our Aerēz modem has 4 accessible ports. Is that correct for expansion?
Yeah, you got 4 LAN side ports, and that means the local side of the network.
So if I want to just get like a, oh, go ahead, Mark.
I believe there's, yeah, you're right. There's 4. There's 5 ports total, and 1 is for the internet.
So if I wanted to get more, I would just buy a switch off of whatever retailer and jack that into one of those ports, and then I could have 4, 8 more ports, however large that switch is.
Correct.
All right. Any special type of hardware that I would need, or could I just get a random, highly rated, cheap switch?
Yeah. So I've seen people buy anything from a $15 device all the way up to hundreds of dollars devices. The more expensive ones provide a user interface that you can log into and check on things, so to speak, just like you can with Aerēz. And the cheaper ones just don't have any manageability, and they're more likely to be of the type that you need to do a reboot on it every period of time, and that might be a week, might be a month, but they'll occasionally go and fail and need to be rebooted.
So it pays
just
to do the research. Sure, it pays to do the research on that. All right.
The best thing to do is look at the reviews on Amazon or wherever you're purchasing from.
Just like everything else. Mm-hmm. All right. Candace, did you have any other topics that we wanted to discuss today?
No, I think we've hit some of the main ones that we have gotten asked this week and that we wanted to address. So I think I've got what I wanted to say out there.
Well, I do have one more. And Mark, I know it sounds like you're losing your voice, bud, and I don't want to keep pressing you, but
Let me take a drink here.
I do have a follow-on from that question we asked earlier about the internet running slow when the whole family is using it. What if we do come into a situation, I think we alluded to earlier, where there is just a low amount of available bandwidth? Let's say it's 10 meg or 5 meg, whatever the round number is. What if one of our users are reaching that peak? Is there anything that they can do if they can't or don't have the means to upgrade their service? Is there anything that they can do without Aerēz? And is there anything they can do with Aerēz, or do we have anything coming up that might be able to help them?
Sure, and I think that I was actually going to go that direction myself, but thanks for the prompt. So
that's what I'm here for.
Yeah, awesome. Without Aerēz, you know, we talked about being able to go into your current router's interface and setting a bandwidth policy. Usually what that looks like is saying, hey, this thing has a ceiling of, let's say I have 5 meg. I would go in and set each device to only be able to consume 1 or 2 meg. And that way you could have multiple devices operating at the same time with nothing able to maybe spike the connection and make everybody else starved. In the Aerēz scenario, that's not the way it behaves. We have an advanced quality of service that not only has a ceiling of whatever your connection speed is, but it also reserves a minimum bandwidth. So yay, we're awesome. In the future, what we want to do with Aerēz is provide you a little more granular control by allowing you to say that, hey, this device is one of 4 categories. It's either unlimited on bandwidth, or we can say that, hey, this device gets standard def streaming, medium def streaming, or 4K streaming, in which case we're going to apply the correct bandwidth policy on there, but it gives you a little more tuning control so that you can say that, hey, I'm really limited on bandwidth, and in addition, I want this device to not be able to consume so much that it slows everything else down.
So if I'm one of those unfortunate souls, like I was in the place I lived before, we had 1 megabyte of internet. That was the fastest we could get at the location we were at. And I tell you, it was hard to even just do a Skype call, you know, streaming, anything like that. High speed stuff was impossible. There was no way I was getting high def video, not even, forget about 4K. I wasn't even getting high def. So for people in those situations, basically what we're talking about doing is providing an easy button to say that we're going to limit, you can limit this device to whichever, you know, quality level you want, which will make it not soak up all of your bandwidth so that you can still do other things, more than one thing at a time.
Right on.
All right, cool. All right, so I think that about wraps it up, unless you had any last words there, Mark or Candace?
I don't have anything more for this week.
Yeah, I guess we're excited about the UI changes that are coming up. We know we're really working on the polish, and things are looking better than ever, and they're going to continue to do so. Developers are doing a great job.
Awesome. It is exciting. I've been very impressed with the UI changes. I'm looking forward to I think it's just a few more that are coming, and then I think we're pretty much solid. I'm looking forward to that and the native app, all the things we have coming up. You guys are actually going to be at a gaming conference, is that right? The words escape me. What is it you guys are going to be doing here? It's a Comic-Con type thing in North Dakota, right?
Yeah, it's called iMagicCon, and it's here in Minot, North Dakota, and they've built it up over the last few years to be a really fun family event with lots of different activities. I think they have a LAN party, some booths, and so we're going to be a part of it with a vendor booth and be able to talk with some local people, and Mark will get to geek out over all the cosplay gaming costumes. Maybe Mark will get a costume to wear.
So here we go. That's actually not a bad idea. Maybe I should.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. That'd be awesome. Oh, I hate I'm gonna miss that. LAN parties, man. I miss those days. Oh
Indeed.
boy. Yeah, but look forward to seeing us there, guys. If you're in the area, please come on by, say hi, check us out, and also be on the lookout for us in some of your other locations. Well, I don't want to let the cat out the bag, so I'm going to hold that in for now. But we're looking to get out there a lot more and be engaged in some of these venues and some other trade shows and things like that. So awesome. Looking forward to that, guys. Well, I guess that is it for today. I don't see any questions in the chat areas. Let me double check on Facebook first before I say that. And no, I don't see anything there. Okay, so again, if you guys have any questions, leave them in the comment area. And if you're looking at the recorded version, do that. Leave it in the comment area. Also, go to our website, aerēz.net, and you can ask us in our live chat right there as well. So thank you guys for coming out, Mark and Candace. We appreciate the time.
Thank you, George.
And to all of the viewers, thank you for taking the time to check us out. We love and need your feedback. It helps the platform grow. So please don't be shy about leaving it. And we will see you all next week for Webinar Wednesday. Thanks. Goodbye.